Hey, it's Llama here. So, Ark Survival Ascended, the biggest talking point in the community right now, drawing closer to release, and we still know very little about it. But in a vacuum of information, people naturally fill in the blanks with their assumptions. In this video, I'm going to look at what we actually know, as communicated by Wildcard, including the latest update to the roadmap shared only this week. If you enjoy this video or you find it useful and you could like, comment or subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. So, let's get started, shall we? Back in April 2023, April 1st specifically, Wildcard announced their Ark roadmap in the Community Crunch and on their website. This included a not so surprising delay to Ark 2 and a new version of the existing Ark called Ark Survival Ascended. Now, at first the plan was to charge for Ark Survival Ascended as a base game bundled with Ark 2 pre-purchase, and then charge for 2 season passes of expansions. The Explorer Pass, which contains Scorched Earth, Aberration and Extinction, and then a Genesis Pass, which included both Gen 1 and Gen 2. The reaction to this was not very positive, to say the least. Firstly, there had been a communication from one of the lead developers previously to this that the conversion to Unreal Engine 5 would be a free upgrade. Now this seemed to have changed. Also, people were reluctant to pre-purchase Ark 2 when they hadn't seen anything even close to resembling gameplay. A week later, in the next Community Crunch, Wildcard revised their plan. Now, they would charge for the Ark Ascended base game in isolation, but the cost of the base game, whilst higher, would include all existing story maps and the non-canon maps. Ark 2 was no longer included as a pre-purchase. So, when was all this going to happen? Well, the Island and Scorched Earth would be released at launch, aimed at the end of August 2023. Along with these would be updated versions of Survival of the Fittest on both maps, Scorched Earth being an addition because currently Survival of the Fittest is only available on the island. Then the following schedule was identified for the remaining story maps. Aberration in Q4 2023, so somewhere between October and December. Extinction and Genesis were scheduled for Q1 of 2024. It wasn't really clarified as to whether these would both land at the same time or whether there would be a month or two in between them. And then Genesis 2 in Q2 2024, meaning sometime after April. In addition to this, it was also mentioned that the non-canon maps or community-created maps, as Wildcard called them, would be released over time in 2024. This meant that we would expect to see Aberration before we would see the Centre or any of the other community maps. This was thrown into question when the second community creature vote after Scorched Earth was for Ragnarok, suggesting that Ragnarok would actually precede Aberration and would follow the Nintendo Switch order of the community map releases, with Ragnarok to be the first instead of the original order where the Centre was the first, following directly after the Island and preceding Scorched Earth. Also, there is the announcement of a new map. This one looks like it's sandwiched in between Aberration and Extinction somewhere, scheduled for Q4 2023. It will be a paid expansion and will include 4 new creatures. The roadmap was then rounded out with the move of the Ark 2 launch date to the very non-specific and vague end of 2024. If you believe the launch date, well, that's up to you, but it's at least given Wildcard breathing space and relieved the pressure for their delivery of gameplay footage. Now we have an updated information from Wildcard only this week. Disappointing, but not particularly surprising, is a delay on Ark Survival Ascended launch until October 23. At this point, only the Island will now release, and Scorched Earth is now planned to push further back to December. The knock-on effect of this pushes Aberration into Q1 of 2024, and as expected, Ragnarok is confirmed as the first non-canon map, also in Q1 2024, and if we're to base it on the creature votes, probably landing before Aberration. The new story map isn't mentioned at all, so we have to assume it follows sometime after Aberration and hasn't been shelved entirely. The rest of the maps, well, all that's said is Ragnarok and Aberration in Q1 2024 and the rest of the maps beyond then. And as far as Ark 2 is concerned, Well, let's face it, we could all be in nursing homes by the time that's released. The other big news is that the launch price has been reduced given the reduced content at launch, and the game will be launched as early access. If I'm to be honest, this makes me a little suspicious. Early access means expect an unfinished game with lots of bugs. Not a good start. The reduced launch price with less content makes me think that we may get charged for extra content later, other than the new story map. This is speculation obviously and hasn't been confirmed by any of Wildcard's statements. They have however confirmed that Ark Survival Evolved official servers will now remain until the end of September, making me a little anxious about how long there will be in between the official servers coming down and the launch of the new Ascended servers. I'm guessing those won't be in place on the 1st of October. So overall, no real surprise on the delay, but the move to an early access model is concerning as it suggests the quality of the released version may be worse than the current version, not better. And I've been hoping that Wildcard's apparent disregard for the community, which supports its game through thick and thin, was not real, and Ascended was a perfect opportunity for them to show this by building the game Ark always should have been. The problem being, they can't keep stringing the community along and take years to achieve this. Ark Survival Evolved is now 8 years old and still massively broken. At some stage, even the most dedicated die-hard fans will walk away. So that's my update on the roadmap and what we know about the future release dates for Ark Survival Ascended. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this video, and if you did, please show your appreciation by liking or subscribing, and leave a comment and tell me what you think if you have the time. I really do appreciate it. And I'll catch you in the next one. I'm Llama, and I'm out of here.